poo-poo on something.
Oh, yes.
God.
Okay, so our this is going to be a quick review / first impressions. Very
Super
quick,
fast.
super fast review. We're running out of time. Super fast review of the Apple TV new series by M. Night Shyamalan called Servant, a uniquely disturbing TV show that I watched this morning, and I was like, wow. There was a big moment at the end that I did not see coming. Like, Matt was like, you didn't see that coming? And I was like, no, not even a little.
I didn't see it coming either.
I can't believe that.
When I was talking to Matt yesterday, he's like, what are you, stupid?
So the premise...
I saw it coming a mile away.
So he said the same thing to me. So the setup for this show is we have this woman who lost a child shortly after it was born, and she's having a very, very difficult time.
She's crazy.
She's
cray.
She's crazy.
She's crazy. So she's having a very difficult time getting over the baby's death. So in order to kind of mitigate that pain and sorrow, her what I got the impression was just a friend of a friend. It wasn't a doctor or anything. They made her buy
quote
this
unquote psychologist.
Yeah, quote unquote unlicensed psychologist. Told her to purchase this lifelike baby doll that kind of looked like her child. And the husband's not on board with it. He's like, this is crazy, but it's my wife, whatever.
Well, apparently she was like catatonic. She went through some major postpartum depression. And then when the baby died, she just really checked out. And the only way to pull her back to kind of like some sense of normalcy was to give her this surrogate baby to take care of. And it's a doll.
Yeah.
But she believes it's real. And that's the only thing that's keeping her, like, normal, quote unquote.
And then in comes the babysitter. So
How
rich do you have to be to get a babysitter for a baby that's not real?
well, dude, this guy's got something like $250,000 worth of wine in his basement.
Yeah. These are very
these
rich
obviously
people.
some
These are well-off people.
fancy chef
So
guy.
they're paying this young 18-year-old girl a certain salary. I think it was like $900 a month or something, plus room and board in their house to watch this fake baby, all to appease the wife's psychological issues.
And the fake baby thing was a big reveal. At the start of the show, you're like, this is just a job interview for a nanny.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, the husband goes into the room and pulls the baby out of the crib by its legs.
Okay,
Knocks
so
its head
sits
on the
down,
side.
and then you find out, it's not real.
yeah, so
And it's the creepiest freaking doll
it's
that
super
you've ever
creepy.
seen.
It's super lifelike and super creepy. But the weird thing is they showed that moment in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a big reveal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to intrigue people to watch the show. But it was just a weird thing because I thought that would have been a bigger moment if you were coming in fresh to the show and you see that happen. You would be shocked, like for at least that minute, and then you would realize what the truth
it's your
was.
typical M. Night Shyamalan,
Shyamalama ding dong.
Shyamalanga something or other moment. But the interesting thing is like you think, that's the big twist. But then at the end of the first episode, you're like, there's another twist.
Yeah.
So
So
stupid.
So it's very twisty.
Everything about this show is stupid.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
We'll let you go in a minute.
Let the hate flow through you.
We'll let you.
I don't have a whole lot to say, but you guys go ahead.
Well, I was thinking it was very, very much M. Night Shyamalan being M. Night Shyamalan.
I was gonna say, Alex, you're probably the biggest M. Night Shyamalan fan here.
I do. I'm an M. Night Shyamalan apologist.
Yeah, that's a good way.
I don't hate the guy nearly as much as the common public moviegoers do. I can't forgive him for Lady in the Water or The Happening, but that being said, I do enjoy his films for the most part. And one of the things I noticed that was very, very much M. Night Shyamalan-esque was the extreme close-up shots to people's faces while they're talking, like full-on lines of dialogue. For like,
So I'm going to put this camera up your
Like,
nose,
right-
and I want you to like act really bad. I want you to act really poorly and say some lines.
he uses that to make the audience feel as uncomfortable as he wants them to feel.
worked.
It works. It
It
really does
absolutely
work.
works.
So like there's scenes in like in Signs where you're like really up close to Mel Gibson's face, and it's meant to kind of make you feel like weird, and you're seeing these facial expressions from this woman in this new TV show that are like super close to your camera, and you're looking at them on your TV, and her face is just right there, and she's obviously like about to crack. Like her brain is not all there, and you can see it in her face. So props to the acting, because you have a
Talk about uncomfortable. What do you guys think of the milking scene?
that was I've seen worse things in like Game of Thrones and stuff.
That's terrible.
It was
It made,
so
me
uncomfortable.
it made me want to go barf. It was just like, ugh.
not as
It's
bad.
like, it's like, there's no way, like,
That's a real thing, though.
two chicks,
Yeah.
one of them, like,
So we need to set the stage for
okay,
this.
so because
so there's a scene in the movie, or I should say in the show, where the wife, the crazy lady, so she's been complaining that one of her milk ducts is like
clogged. Just what is it? Mastitis? Something like that.
Mastitis.
It's a common issue with mothers that are new.
Because she's been breastfeeding a doll.
Yeah. So she's in a lot of pain and discomfort, and so she takes these long baths, and she's just like miserable. And the servant comes in and starts like massaging the duct that's I guess inflamed. And then there's a moment where basically all the milk pours out of her into the bath, and it is a very uncomfortable scene to watch.
it felt like a pseudo sexual scene almost, because it was almost like the relief of having that pain go away almost felt orgasmic. It was
absolutely a pseudo sexual scene.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was weird, but however, I have to say, because I've got 2 kids and my wife breastfed and everything, and it's a logical thing that happens to somebody in that situation. If you're not breastfeeding your child, you're going to have issues. So
but it's just another example about how unsettling this show is.
Yeah, this show's very unsettling.
I'm not a big Shyamalan fan. In fact, I'm a pretty big critic of his. I've never liked any of his movies. But I feel like this show just is very good at setting this tone of unending creepiness. Everyone in the show's an asshole, pretty much. By the way, did you guys recognize the actress who plays the servant?
Oh, the servant? No, I just thought you were going to talk about Ronald Weasley. But,
No, so the girl...
redhead?
Yeah.
Well, the girl who plays the servant was Marcella Baratheon. She was the princess in Game of Thrones.
For real?
Yeah. Only she had blonde hair in the Game of Thrones show. But yeah, that was her.
Riveting.
Wow.
Riveting. That's just why are we talking about this show?
I didn't even... Yeah, I really don't like the show at all. I watched it. It's supposed to be a creepy, uncomfortable show to watch. It's very intriguing.
I didn't like this show from the minute it started.
Go ahead. Tell us why.
There's no reason really why. It just was not good. It was too dark. I didn't like the camera.
You need to change your settings. Everything's too dark.
It was. Everything on Apple TV is dark.
You need to change your settings.
It's ridiculous. Even the stupid news show with Jennifer Aniston in it is dark.
That might be your settings.
Yeah, it's not my settings.
I'm gonna come over and adjust.
No, I just didn't like this show. I wasn't comfortable with the premise. Knowing people that have gone through that in real life, I think it's a very personal thing for some people. I didn't like the way it was shot. I thought every character was an asshole, like Matthew already touched on. I didn't. It was too much trying to make you feel uncomfortable in this show. Even the guy cooking his food with the pretentious ducks and their stupid little jelly mold things, and the sealing the trout up so they can boil it in the...
Yeah, the husband in the show is like
ultra chef.
Like he's on Iron Chef or something. Yeah. And it's just... The close-up on the trout mouth grossed me out. It's like, oh, God, do we have to have close-ups on food?
Everything about the show is a close-up.
Everything about this show just made me not want to watch anymore. Huh. I didn't like the nanny. She's crazy religious chick, was she supposed to be Mormon? Is that what they said?
She had a cross, so I thought she was Christian.
I don't know. She can't drink caffeine.
Did she say that?
I think she said something about that in the beginning.
Well, no, she said it was alcohol because she was 18. Okay. She's not 21. But, that's why.
And the reveal at the end, with her hanging the cross up over the crib and all this kind of stuff. You knew something weird was going to happen.
See, I didn't. Okay,
I absolutely knew something weird was. Can we spoil this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the doll gets replaced by a real baby in the very last scene of the show.
Yeah.
So there's either some weird religious stuff going on where the doll has been turned into a real life baby, or she went to the park and stole the baby from some lady. It's like, well, either way, it's stupid, and I just don't like it. It's just there's nothing about this show that I like.
The ending scene that's set up for that was they have baby monitors all over the house for the fake baby, and the father's doing something for work. He's testing wine out or something like that for a meal, and he hears a cooing. And that, I was watching it and I had headphones in, so it was it perked me. I was like, oh crap, what is that? I'm like, no way. And then it happened again. And then he finally goes up there and the big reveal is that the baby's real and it's sitting in the crib. And that, to me, that was like, oh, okay, now I kind of want to watch episode 2. I like the idea that she stole a baby at the park. That's an interesting.
Yeah, it's cool because there are things that happen in this show that could be considered supernatural, but they always give like a realistic explanation as to why they happened. And so basically going forward from episode 2 on, the dad and the brother, played by Ron Weasley, they basically are proceeding with the notion that this crazy nanny kidnapped some kid and, brought it back home. And so they're basically proceeding based off of that, whereas the nanny and the wife are just treating it like it's completely normal. This is their baby. It was always like this.
That's going to be an interesting tug of war in the relationship of that family. I
just hate everything about
how
this show.
You feel about this show is how I feel about C, and y'all are making me do a full-on episode about it.
Well, C is actually entertaining.
This is just super creepy. So if you're easily creeped out, and if you don't like the vibes that this show is giving off, I wouldn't suggest it. But it is very intriguing, and it's got me sold. The first episode at least got me sold on watching the next one.
I would say that Apple TV has made some odd choices in their original series.
Very odd choices. Yeah.
Like between C and this show, like it's kind of like the hate watching channel.
Kind of.
We'll talk about it after. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening to the Salty Nerd Podcast live from Las Vegas.
Yes. And where can they find you on the socials, Alex?
You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at the Salty Nerd. And on Instagram, I think it's Salty Nerd Podcast. You can type it in there. And you can also follow Matt Kadish on Twitter at Matthew Kadish. And
Kadish.
And then Matt Vader 74. Do you have any colons or dashes or anything?
No, it's just Matt Vader 74 with
Vader
that
74.
little at symbol in front of it.
Yeah.
So.
The normal
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube with
I'm the only
videos.
one who uses his actual name.
And just for
because I got nothing to hide.
For you guys out there who are more of the YouTube crowd, I do small snippets from our full-length episodes on YouTube, break it down by subject for about 5 to 10 minutes per video. So if you guys are more into that type of entertainment and digesting shorter episodes, check us out on YouTube. And we also have a Patreon now.
Ooh, Patreon. So if you like what you hear and you want to support the podcast so Alex can get a better microphone so he doesn't go crazy.
Microphone.
We need some plywood so we can make a studio in his garage.
Okay, so no, that's not even a joke. For real, if you guys want to support the Patreon, all the money that I'm going to get through that is going to go towards building an actual soundproof studio in my garage where we can sit and talk. We'll have a TV in there. I'm going to do it up kind of...
The Salty Cave.
The Salty Cave. I'm actually kind of mimicking what Joe Rogan has. His setup is going to be similar but not as grandiose as that. So if you guys want to support that and you want to hear some great content from us continuing in the future, please consider joining our Patreon. $1 will do anything. It doesn't matter. Do it once, do it every month, whatever you guys feel comfortable.
Little dab will do you.
Little dab will do me. I appreciate all the support, guys, and have a great night. See you.